All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode, probably the most special episode of Hoop Chatter. As always, Art Morrison III here. I got my boys with me, Kevin Tarka in your upper left-hand screen and Rob McPherson at the bottom of the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget, like, share, subscribe on YouTube now. I don't know what episode this is on YouTube, but we're rolling on YouTube. And as usual, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor, and any other podcast platforms, all major platforms. We are dropping every week. We're going to take a little break because this is the season finale, but we would love for you guys to subscribe so that when we do drop season 2, you are here, and we want you guys to review all the past episodes that we have dropped on whatever platform you prefer to watch or listen. Anyway, without further ado, boys, I haven't seen you in a while. It's episode 32. How you guys feeling? We're 32 episodes in. This is the finale of season 1. It's been so long, man, since I've seen you guys in person, since we met up and linked up and recorded a series of episodes here at my office, man. What's good? How you guys feeling?
Feeling good.
At once, man.
Lead us off, Rob.
Feeling good, man. Like that meetup at your office feels like a different life, yo. Like that feels like 2 years
Kobe
ago.
Bryant was alive when we met, bro.
Wow, bro.
Kobe was
2020
alive.
was real then.
No COVID was going on. You know what I mean? Like,
Bro, we was eating sushi with no covers, handing plates back and forth, sipping
High
wine.
fiving.
You feel me? Yeah.
Shaking hands, hugging. The cover for the the cover for the podcast, bro, is us standing real close.
Those social
You know what I
distance,
mean?
yo. That wasn't even a thing then, right?
We would need a screenshot of this or like a picture far away of us 6 feet apart. You know what I mean? Or they'll probably, at one point, they'll probably lock us up for being close to each other. Now it's lightening up a little bit. Tarka, what about you, bro? How's everything? How you holding up?
Hold it up, man. Hanging in there. It's been, I feel like it's been, every day you're waking up, you're like, all right, are we getting back to normal? Are we getting back to normal? Are sports starting?
Sports starting?
Yeah. I mean, I have, I know we talked about this a little bit. I had one guy that started back up in Germany. Germany was one of the countries that did a condensed version of their playoffs. So he was back out there. But besides that, everything's still pretty much on a standstill. They've extended, I think, twice the college recruiting, recruiting period or the dead period. They've extended that twice. But it's interesting times, man. So,
Yo, my AAU program, we're about to start practicing outside. I've been doing one-on-one training at parks and in people's driveways, bro. Like when I first started my company, we got to have like classes with a certain amount of kids when we start back up on July 6th. We're allowed to now, but I'll push it to July 6th because I'm hoping they let us inside by then. So, man, we're still adjusting, and we're month 4 or 5 of quarantine. I don't even know what the month is, but we're still having to make adjustments as we kind of, I guess, trickle back into normality. Is that a word? Yeah, normality. Yeah, man. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, right? What was the, and you just butt in whenever, but what was the hardest part of quarantine for you guys? Like, what was the toughest?
Bro, not like it's one thing to be at home when you can go out. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, and those that know me know I'm a big foodie, so I like going out to different restaurants to eat or have an adult beverage every now and then. So now
Baltimore, what phase is Maryland in right now, bro? Because I seen you started eating out way, but I started seeing your stories. I was like, nah, hold up. How is this guy posting food?
Yeah, bro. So we're phase 2. So indoor and outdoor restaurants are open, but it's 50% capacity. Bars are not open. You can go back to the gym now. I was in the gym yesterday. The gyms are open back up.
What?
They got
How many people were in there?
It was probably like 25. It was probably like 25, 30 people in there.
Yeah, 50% capacity too, right?
Yeah, but when they have it, like they got machines blocked off, so it's like every other 2 machines.
Oh my gosh!
You know what I mean? So and some people in there with masks on, like it's weird, bro. Like you're working out,
bro. We go to 25% capacity on July 2nd, which if you guys, I don't know when you guys are listening, but it's June 24th right now. So we got a whole nother week, and that's just for 25%. My boy Rob is at 50% right now, and gyms still won't be open July 2nd here in Jersey, and that was announced today. So this is hard up here, bro. I'm looking at relocating. I might come back for a while.
It's so tough,
I'm thinking of
man.
me more, bro.
It's so tough because I know we've talked about this, but you're just like, I feel like it could almost be 0 or 1, right? It's like, obviously this is a real thing, right? It's serious, right? But then you start looking at some of the numbers coming out in hindsight. I remember talking about the first time it came out, we're like, yo, check the numbers. Like, what's it projecting at? And now you're just like, you know, I don't know. Are they just like, are they on a whole nother level? Like, man, I mean, you know, some of these percentages are like 0.001. It's like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know people that have been affected by this and people that have been sick and unfortunately, you know, people that have died, but like, I just, it's a crazy thing to think about, you know?
The numbers, the concept of like, you know, like people at risk. I'm like, shoot, I'm vegetarian. I run every day. I'm like, man, let me quarantine them. You know what I mean? No offense to anybody.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
But you know what I mean? I just came from the beach and
the beach is wild, yo.
Not one mask in sight. But then, you know, the restaurants that line the beach, outdoor seating is allowed and you don't have to wear a mask when you sit because you have to eat and drink. Right. So I can't even say the beach is out of control. These people aren't wearing masks because the people that are sitting eating aren't wearing masks. It's all on the same boardwalk, bro.
Right.
Like,
wait, what beach you go to?
I went to Asbury Park today. I usually go to Belmar, but I went to Asbury Park.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's wide open. All the restaurants are open. The beach is packed. I mean, not packed, but it's packed.
I'm about to be up that way on this weekend. I'm going up to Margate.
Yeah, swing on up. Jersey beaches are like you wouldn't know it was quarantine, bro. Like if you as soon as you get on that boardwalk, it's like an escape from life, which is actually why I went. But I don't know. Talk. What was the hardest part for you during quarantine?
I mean, I think it was just the getting anxious to start traveling.
I was going to say that.
I just, you know, because again, I don't remember, and this obviously puts things into perspective of like, you know, just being blessed and everything. But I just don't remember last time I was home for 3-4 weeks in a row, let alone now, 4 months. It's like I'm on the move. So it's great. You know, I'm taking advantage of it, can see some family, do some things that I didn't do before. But now it's just like, yo, I mean, even when they open it up, it's like, where do I go? There's no summer league. There's no league starting. So like, I'm going to just go somewhere to go just because like I'm allowed to. I think that was the toughest part. It's just getting used to not being allowed to, you know, to do things.
Yeah. So the hardest part for me was like just the constant anxiety of adjusting. Like there's just adjustments, right? And, you know, guys know I run a couple of businesses. So it's like every business has a different cause and effect from COVID. So that part sucked, but then the next part of like exactly what you just said is like, okay, everything opens up in like these weird phases. I'm gonna just go do stuff just to do stuff. Like now I don't have anything to do because the world just proved that you don't have really anything to do. Like even work, a lot of 50% of the population could do it from home. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now, you know, things are changing forever. And on that note, as we talk about adjustments and things changing forever, you know, obviously during quarantine, the world got hit with a whole nother wave of tragedy with, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests that erupted after like the wrongful death. And we did a whole episode on this, but the wrongful deaths of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. And, you know, obviously just decades of social injustices that led up to it, right? So between that and between COVID, now we see the NBA being shaken up from two sides, right? And obviously we talk a lot of NBA on here. It's hoop chatter. So we talk NCAA, we can talk high school ball, but we really dive in NBA. And Tarka, with you as an agent, you know, I know you have some sort of strong opinion about this. And you actually were the one who informed me that there's some talkings around the league about people not playing or sitting or withholding, you know, themselves playing. So I wanted to get you guys' take, man. Oh, Rob got the AboveMAX shirt on.
Yeah. Shout out to the guys.
I like it. I need to rock that next time.
No, rock your creation talent, bro. I like that. You know what I mean?
Ooh, we might have to get a creation talent powered by AboveMAX.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Go. But yeah, I wanted to get you guys' opinion, man, on like the NBA, what players, especially black players, are responsible for doing or not doing during this time. Is the NBA being responsible by not canceling the season with everything going on from, again, the protests and LeBron and other people who have spoken up having a duty in their community, along with like COVID-19 not really easing up everywhere and them trying to put players in a bubble, like literally a bubble is what they're calling it, and not forcing them to play, but, you know, essentially there's a level of forcing it, right? You're either having a season or you're not, and it's kind of shaping up to be like this half-ass, excuse my language, season, right? So I'm gonna ask you first, bro. How do you feel about just the whole situation, and what would be like your perfect world, or just give your opinion on it?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it would be obviously great to find a way to play, come to a conclusion that, like, hey, let's just wrap this up and move on. We're not going to just scrap the whole season. We'll talk to everybody, see what they want to do, see how we can do this in the safest possible way, and do it. I think that would be great. I also see the other side where, players, it's if there's ever a time where the attention's going to be on the NBA times 10, it's now. So that means that it's a chance to use the platform to, talk about certain things like social injustice, right? Like very, very plain and simple. Oh boy, I think the sound is getting all.
I'm trying to get his camera together. Rob, you got to mute one. Rob, you got to mute one.
All right, I think we're good.
No, we're not good.
No.
Yeah, you got it. All right, so there we go.
All right, we're good.
Go ahead.
Edit out last 30 seconds. No, I completely get both sides. You have guys like Kyrie that voice his opinion. And, I think if you ever want change, you have to, like, now's the time to do it. I mean, it's really the same concept that I tell college basketball players sometimes. It's like everybody, bitches and moans about the NCAA names, image, and likeness thing, right? Where it's like, we deserve to get paid. We deserve to get paid. And, why are we on this platform? I said, well, there's one easy way to change that. What if at the Final Four, right before the tip, all the teams walked out and no one played? It's the same thing for the NBA. What are they going to do? Everyone's here. Sponsors are paying money. The advertisers are showing the games. And then they say, no, we don't want to play because there's bigger issues and things that are bigger than basketball at stake. So, I mean, I think that would be great.
What I always think about during times like this, I'll never forget the Donald Sterling fiasco with the Clippers. And when he said racist comments, literally caught on, voice recording. And the players went out and they wore like black over their warm-ups or something like that. And then they took the warm-ups off and threw them in the middle of the court and then went out and played. It was the stupidest, like, I don't want to offend anyone. It was just the dumbest gesture in the one moment you had to really flex your power as players. The one moment that, like, you'll rarely get, because now from there people are super careful about who they're talking around and all that, because it still happens, right? But that one moment we had it and the Clippers were on fire at the time. They had Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. They were one of the top teams we anticipated to win a championship. And they still went out and played and, like, put the uniforms in the middle. It was like, if I'm a white person and I'm not following what's going on, I don't even know what that means. Yeah. Like, you're not raising any awareness. And this kind of, I look at this as a similar situation.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate on that, though. On this situation. So my thing is, let's say the players don't come back to Orlando, end of July, but they come back and play the start of next season. That's not really changing anything. We've already been 3-4 months without sports, bro. Like, their season already should be over anyway. People probably already satisfied if the season was canceled anyway. But if they don't play now, but then the start of next season, they come back and play. Like, my thing is, if you're going to take a stance where you're like, yo, things need to change in this country, I'm going to use my platform, it's not the right time to play. Like, it's not going to be the right time to play come December when you start the new season. It might not be the right time to play come next year, like next calendar year. You see what I'm saying? Like, this type of situation, man, we've been in this situation, honestly, way before Cap even knelt 4 years ago.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, if you're going to opt out to not play, then my thing is, I feel like you need to be prepared to possibly not play again.
Well,
or you can play, but you can make the NBA right? Donate all proceeds and revenue from you starting back up to play. And as a whole, the NBA come together as a players association. The players can say, like, we're going to donate 25% total of everyone's salary combined towards Black Lives Matter initiatives or racial injustice or systematic oppression. Like, there's ways I feel like you can go about it and still play, but use your platform and that same power with money attached to it, because money's gonna keep all these things afloat, right?
Yeah, I think that you get that power by not playing initially, and I think what Tarka was saying before, with all the attention now and the NBA essentially being the only sport that's going to come back besides NASCAR and golf, right? All the attention's on the NBA. MLB ain't coming back, NFL ain't coming back. All the attention's on the NBA. That's where the attention.
I think MLB's coming back too.
Yeah, they might. But right, with the NBA being majority Black players.
Yep.
Now's the time where it's like, okay, let me take advantage of this and not play. And so again, what I'm saying is that's how you get leverage to do everything that you say. Because I think ultimately the point is change. So if you're not getting, like, you have to demand change. Something has to change. If nothing changes, then yeah, you shouldn't play when the next season starts up. I agree with that. It's not just a matter of just not playing. But I do like Kyrie, for example. The rumor was he said something about starting, their own league. You know me.
I think that's dope.
I think just the thought of that and scaring owners and GMs and executives and like, yo, these people are smartening up. You know what I mean? They've seen someone who was a no one, or not a no one, someone who was a rapper create a league, the Big Three, with former NBA players and Ice Cube. No offense to Ice Cube. I'm not saying he's not a genius or whatever, but Ice Cube's no more a genius or equipped or has no more experience than a LeBron James, who is a player, right? So these players have power. Same thing with, you look at, my boy, LeVar Ball, no experience, no nothing, but he somehow formed a league somehow that actually got attention and deals from sponsors and so what the hell could LeBron James do and Kyrie Irving do if they, I won't say man up, but if they decided, hey, we have the power, let's take over our dollar, let's take control.
And don't get me wrong either. I'm not saying one way is right or wrong. I'm just saying there's multiple ways. There's definitely multiple ways they could do this. Right?
I agree.
That's all I was saying.
I think so. So in response to that, if they play, then you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's like, if they play, there needs to be a reason for it. So they need to get together and say, hey, look, yeah, we're willing to play, but the only way we're playing is if every single dollar goes to X, Y, and Z, or if every single sponsor that airs on ESPN or ABC or whatever's playing is an educational, is either a Black-owned business or an educational, some sort of,
that would be dope.
So it's like, it's not just they're playing. It's like, it's that. What's the weight? Yeah, but what's the weighted value of playing, or what's the opportunity cost? I think is the right word of not playing to get the point across versus using that platform, getting the point across. Yes, they're playing, but they're also raising that much money to get the point across. So I think the only way that they play, or I guess the right way that they play, is like really using their power to do that, because otherwise, if they don't, like we said, we don't know way, wrong way.
Same guys will have a whole lockout when it comes to that money. So if we're going through everything that's going on right now, you have owners and executives like James Dolan of the Knicks openly saying, we will not comment on this matter.
Mm-hmm.
Openly saying it, right? So I'm sure he's not the only executive or owner who feels that way. There's a lot of teams. I didn't see, how many teams there? 30 what?
30
teams, yeah.
30 teams. I didn't see 30 statements. Only a couple select few teams who had a statement or did something toward the initiative. And I don't think the answer is even always giving money, but it's definitely like there's something, and it needs to even just be an addressing of something that's very real, which is racism within all systems, including the NBA. Like, there's racism, in basketball to some extent, at all levels, right? There's a level of like, I'm a rich white guy and I'm over you and you're just a player. Shut up and dribble concept, right? So Yeah, with all that being said, bro, I personally feel like it's a no-brainer. Like, the season's short. This the perfect time, instead of sacrificing a whole 82 game season, man, sacrifice this dumbass saving us of a season in Orlando and just stay home with your family, right? And throw the fist up. And not saying like it's an excuse to stay home with your family, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, flex your power right now. For what? A couple more weeks of pay? Get out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I see guys saying, oh, like some of these guys need the money and they can affect the community and blah, blah. Man, your pockets are minor compared to the pockets that you not playing would affect.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't.
And that's a whole another conversation of like, well, I mean, I
People
know what the
gotta be
minimum.
willing to sacrifice.
I know what the minimum salary contract. You know, I know what that is. So spend differently. You know, spend save a little more, man.
Yo,
Man,
so
it comes down to sacrifice too.
yeah,
Like,
that's
no
the
one
whole.
said this is gonna be a cakewalk. Like,
It's supposed to make
get what
everybody
you-
uncomfortable.
yeah, to get what you want out of any situation, you got to sacrifice for it, and that's with
Absolutely.
anything.
So yeah, guys, I wanna move on because like we had a whole episode on this, right? So
I know we
could
just
talk about
dove
this
deep
all
into
day,
it again.
right? And we only got 10 minutes left of this episode, but I do want to move on from it. This is the finale. I wanted to spend a good amount of time recapping. Okay, so I guess I'll go first on this. I want to talk about what everybody's favorite episode is. So you guys start getting your thoughts together, right? So we had 32 episodes, not including this one. I'm gonna say my favorite episode, I think, was when Rob and I, we were in person, we got heated and we started arguing Kobe and Bron at the end of an episode. And that's an argument that in the past we used to have every day, daily. It was like sickening, actually. And then the next day, literally the next day, Kobe ended up passing. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't know if favorite's the right word, but that episode stands out to me. It means a lot to me because it was like, you know, like we were literally arguing who's the GOAT, you know what I mean, or who's number 2 right behind Jordan among these guys, and having Kobe in that conversation and showing that respect, whether you're arguing against him or for him, it don't even matter. Right before he passed, just to send that energy out into the universe before, you know, really giving him his flowers while he was still here. A day before he was no longer with us. I'm gonna say that's my favorite episode. What about you guys?
That's a dope one. You definitely stole that one from me as well. But outside of that one, I would say when your man G came on, we did the interview with G.
You love G.
Yo, his energy was next level. He's just a cool dude, man, and it's also dope. He was on the staff of a team in Israel that my cousin played on. So
yeah, small world.
That was also pretty
basketball
dope. So
fraternity
with G. Yep.
Tarka, what about you?
I loved having guests on. I think selfishly, just because like, you know, they were my friends or my family members. It was really cool to kind of have that conversation. But I think one of my favorites personally to talk about was Life Overseas episode, simply because I was able to kind of share some insight to anyone who was listening about, you know, the day in the life and the reality of being a pro versus what people think it is. So that was one of my favorites to talk about, just based on experience.
Absolutely. So Rob's favorite guest was G. German, right?
Here we go. German, like
German.
chair, German.
German, okay. Tarka, who was your favorite guest?
Oh man,
not favorite. We got to be careful here.
Yeah, we do gotta be careful. I think my brother might be in the house somewhere, so I'm not gonna say him. My man Slight brought the energy, man.
Damn it!
I knew you were gonna say that, but all the guests were cool in their own way. But I think you know, obviously having some of the other coaches like Ike and Sam and you know, all those guys on were awesome, and it's great for a lot of people listening. But the reason I chose Sean is because I think like what he's saying, so many people are uneducated about, and it's just such a you know, different approach to training and to getting better. So that was definitely one of my favorites to listen to after the fact.
Yeah, well, since you stole mine, I'm gonna give a shout out to Sam.
There you go. Yeah,
because she ended up being like, we didn't know when we were gonna end season 1, but she ended up being the only woman guest on season 1. And even if she wasn't, it was my first introduction. You guys are gonna see how ignorant I am. It was my first introduction to the women's basketball world, because I just have never dove into it from recruiting and college level and high school and even WNBA and like kind of where she stands being a player at Quinnipiac. Like I focus so much on men's basketball that I don't know what teams are good. I don't know who's good. So to hear her speak on that, I was actually educated that day. So I'm going to say that I probably got the most value out of Sam.
Nice. A quick little shout out, by the way, we're going to have to go back and take this sound clip out. But, I told you that she was going to be moving on up in the world. And last month she actually left LaSalle, took an assistant coaching spot at Temple.
Wow. Moving up. So we got to get her back on here and ask her about that transition. That kind of brings me to my next question. And this will probably be the last question, guys. A topic that you can't wait to talk about in season 2.
Whew.
I'll go first. Give you guys a second to think. I haven't thought on this, but I'm just gonna blurt it out. I want to talk more about diet and health, and if that requires a guest. I know, like with Slight, we kind of talked about it, but we didn't really dive in because we started going like the entrepreneur route and his story with the Lakers, right? But I really want to dive into as a player because, I think we all grew up the same. I'll speak for you guys. McDonald's at the AAU tournaments. You know what I mean? Pizza at the AAU tournaments as kids. And it's like
French fries.
I experienced injury. Robert experienced injury. I don't know if you did or not. But I would love to see a case study on like, all right, I'm playing hundreds of games a year as a 7th, 8th grader eating terribly. Right? What would happen if my diet was different, my games were limited, and we treated 7th, 8th, 9th graders the same way we treat NBA guys in regards to the study and what's the term? Just like the specificity of like their health. Like, treating their body like a temple. Like LeBron said, he spends $1 million a year on his body. Bro, we're not even spending $10,000 a year on these kids' bodies, and they're going to be the future LeBron James. And LeBron has dominated, the best player of all time in regards to health and injury prevention. Never been hurt.
The crazy thing is, he's an anomaly though. Right. Because you think about all these guys, like look at just thinking off that, we see the end product when we see these guys that are 18, 19, 20 tearing ACLs, blowing out Achilles. Like look at Derrick Rose, bro. Like you can't tell me the way he grew up in our generation when that AAU circuit was a grind. Bro. You were going every weekend, bro. If it wasn't Boo Williams, it was Peach Jam. It was
Pittsburgh Jam Fest.
Pittsburgh Bob Givens. Like you had so many tournaments, and you was on probably if you were on 1 or 2 teams.
Yep.
Like you were always playing. You go from that to then high school, doing the high school year, all the way right into college.
Preseason's crazy.
And then you come into the NBA with 82 NBA games with
48.
Way different travel schedules, appearances you got to do for contract off the court. Like, we see that, man. But I'm with you, bro. I would love to talk about that, and especially with the youth and getting them more involved. Because I feel like I'm seeing it now with some of the kids at Widener. We have like 2 or 3 kids that are vegetarian or vegans on the team, and a couple of really health conscious dudes that don't drink, don't count their macros, micros, all that type of stuff.
Don't even talk about the drinking in college.
Yeah,
to incriminate myself, but
so
I wasn't holding back.
I think that's a dope topic that I'm definitely seeing already trickle down in the generation in college.
What about you, Tarka?
So I'll just touch on 2. One is an easy one, and we talked about it a little bit this year, but I'm excited for season 2. I'm sorry, we talked about it this season. For season 2, as we get into the summer and the fall, names, image, and likenesses, because that keeps changing every single day. And then the next topic I would like to chat more about, maybe
I like that.
Maybe we can even I think it would be great to get some young players on here. We might need to get some AboveMAX players on here, but I want to talk more about, I don't know how I want to categorize this, but education, like off-court stuff, like education as in potential interests of topics of school and or like even into like internship talk, like education on, what do you want to do with your life?
Yeah.
We talk about it a lot, but we don't hear about it a lot.
And what's crazy is that when You're right. Actually, make sure we write this down after, because a lot
Already
of the
wrote
kids,
it down, brother.
my boy, I know you did. A lot of the kids, bro, and because we talk about college, we talk about recruiting, the relationship between basketball and college all the time. But yo, I'm asking kids like, what do you want to do? And I'm talking about young kids. I'm talking about 6th, 7th grade. I want to be a gamer. I want to be a YouTuber. Right? No, but it's funny, but that they're real, actual careers now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're real, actual. I want to be a basketball trainer. These are things that A, you don't have to go to college for, but B, that they just have nothing to do with college. Even if you
they
do
should
go to
be
college.
laughing at us. They're like, you're laughing now, but I'm about to make,
You're
100
laughing now,
grand cash
you
this
desk
month.
job worker. You know what I mean? Like, seriously,
Right.
I'm gonna make all this money for playing Call of Duty on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are real things, and I do want to talk about those careers and like what kids are seeing now. Because like when I was younger, it was like NBA or like an astronaut or a firefighter. Like it was a very specific. Yeah, I would have never.
Career, bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but all those are excellent topics, guys. I can't wait to bring these topics. Another one too, Tucker. You said some AboveMAX players. We got to get some more talented AboveMAX players to have them on our podcast, bro. My players got to step up. But outside of them, even just we didn't get any current college players. Now I don't know how the rules, but we didn't get any current college players or high school recruits, top level recruits, which I'm sure we all know a couple. We didn't bring any current players on. None of your players, and I know like that might be a little touchy, but none of my friends who play. So season 2, I can't wait to bring that a little more.
We'll get them going season 2.
Yeah. Season 2, we're gonna light this joint up. So everyone, whoever's listening, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We would love to build this audience a little bit, and let's build some momentum going into season 2, because we want to continue to better this podcast product for you all. We want to continue to drop better videos, better content, even outside of the actual podcast, just general content, right? Grow our Instagram page. We have a lot of growth. I hope you guys enjoyed our first season ever. Some of us on here have no podcast experience, so you guys got to watch us grow from episode 1 to episode 31. If you guys are bored, if you're really bored during this quarantine, go listen or watch episode 1 all the way through 31, or just watch episode 1 and then 31 or 32. I think this is episode 32. Got to get my numbers right, and let us know what you think. But I would love for you all to see the growth and get as excited as I am about season 2. Tarka, Rob, and we're gonna hit the drawing board and try to bring the best topics, the best guests, the best content as possible heading into fall 2020, which is when you guys will get a season 2 out of us. We're gonna take it's June 22nd, so we're gonna take July and a little bit of August off to clear our minds, hit the drawing board, and create a better product for you all. So make sure, in the meantime, you go follow at Hoop Chatter Podcast on Instagram, and go like, share, subscribe to the Hoop Chatter Podcast on YouTube, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and every major podcast platform. With all that being said, we love you guys. Any last words, you two? Any last words?
I would say enjoy the summer at the beach, but we all know that hopefully everyone's not.
I'm gonna enjoy my summer at the beach. No mask.
Enjoy your
no
summers. Enjoy your summers.
Enjoy your summer. Stay safe. See y'all in the fall.
Guys, thanks again for tuning in. We will chat next season. Peace.